say a couple of words. First of all, every time I do this, I get a little nervous. I think half the crowd's looking at me kind of sideways and saying, well, he's got to say those things about her. They're married. He couldn't go home tonight if he didn't. I better discount about half of it. I guess there's some truth to that. But the larger truth is this. I do love her, but I love my country too. And there comes a time in your life when you realize that even if you live to be 100, you've got more yesterdays than tomorrows. And when that happens, what you really want is for your children and grandchildren to have better tomorrows. I would be here for her if we had never been married. I believe in all my years in public life, she is the single best qualified person I have ever had a chance to support the President of the United States, man or woman of either party, and I would be here for her. So here we are, and here's my pitch. I think there are about 4 reasons you ought to support Hillary in Kentucky. First of all, this country is in a fix economically, as we all know. You've been reading about our short-term crisis, which is all this turmoil in the financial markets in New York. You see where the Bush administration and the Federal Reserve finally stepped in and they bailed out a big investment bank, sold it at a fire sale, said that the private investment banks could borrow money from the government just like regular banks can. All this was designed to keep the wheels from running off our financial system. And it's good, but they have not yet dealt with the biggest problem, which is that 2 million of our fellow citizens are facing home mortgage foreclosures. And 93% of them have never missed a mortgage payment. Can you believe that? Did you ever think you'd live to see that happen? They've got these subprime mortgages and they say, well, I can raise their payment. But nobody ever told these people when they took these mortgages out that they were going to turn the mortgage into stock, basically bid it up and down. And if they bid it down, all of a sudden this mortgage they've been paying on will become worthless. This is a terrible problem. Hillary's the only person running who said we ought to give the state some money to share the losses with the mortgage companies, but keep these innocent, honest people in their homes at the same mortgage they're paying for the next 5 years. Be a lot cheaper than throwing them on the street. Yeah. And that's one of the reasons you hire a president, to keep bad things from happening. But in a larger sense, the problem with the American economy is pretty obvious. We have gone through 7 years where people haven't gotten a raise and the cost of everything's gone through the roof. That's why most Americans think they're already in a recession. Would you agree with that?
Yes. Yes.
Let's just look at the numbers here. Not for the purpose of going back to the past, but because that's what we have to do if you want to make better decisions in the future. One of the most amusing things to me in this campaign has been the periodic implication by people high up in Hillary's opponent's campaign that there really wasn't much difference between the 1990s and this decade. And, you know, because we had fights and arguments and disagreements, goodness forbid, and in the future it's all going to be wonderful, so therefore what happened in the 90s wasn't that much better. They asked Hillary about it and she said, which part of it didn't you like, the peace or the prosperity? I think that's a pretty good answer.